After a weekend of wild weather across the United States that saw dozens of tornadoes, we enter the next week and the last few days of meteorological winter on a quieter note. We have all the details and more next at the Weather Farm. Welcome to the Weather Farm. We have the latest information in regards to all the severe weather that happened over this past weekend. This is our Friday storm report, and we can see that we had over 46 different tornadoes across the Ohio Valley, stretching from Missouri through Illinois and Indiana. We had over 541 wind reports, 308 hail reports, bringing the total storm reports to almost 900 from Friday alone. If we look at Saturday's storm reports, we saw that number mainly confined across the deep south as we expected. 41 tornadoes with 156 wind reports, only 27 hail reports. We did think that the most impactful weather would be long-lived tornadoes across the south, and that is what we saw on our Saturday. Total reports are 224, a very active and very destructive weekend from places from Missouri down through Mississippi and Alabama into Georgia and the Carolinas. We don't have Sunday's reports in fully yet, but we'll bring those to you as soon as we get those available. As we begin our Monday, area of low pressure that is centered across the northern plains. It is bringing snow across North Dakota into northern Minnesota and the southern Canadian provinces of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, into far western Ontario. Out west, we do see a low pressure making its way onto the California coast. It is bringing snow and rain to those higher elevations, and that system that brought all the severe weather over the weekend, it is sliding off the Carolina coast into the Atlantic Ocean. We have some lingering showers early in the day on our Monday, but skies will be improving throughout the day. And Monday will feature a wide area of warm temperatures from the Dakotas all the way down to Texas. Temperatures in the 60s, 70s, 80s up into central Kansas, where just a few days ago you were seeing those destructive storms move through. Even through Iowa and Nebraska, where you saw snow over the weekend, you're seeing temperatures rebound into the mid 70s. Out into the northeast, where we have the remnants of that system that's moved through, we do have a little bit cooler air mass that has parked itself over the northeast. It's keeping temperatures a little bit lower in the 30s and 40s for our Monday, but already through the Ohio Valley, temperatures are rebounding into the low 50s through across Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. In terms of that system across the northern plains, on our Monday, we will see anywhere from 3 to 6 inches across the northern half of North Dakota. As we move over into Minnesota, a little bit lesser amounts, 1 to 3 inches, but back through Ontario, we could see 3 to 5 inches. Across the Rockies, again, we're going to see snowfall amounts, generally 4 to 7 inches in those highest of elevation. Not a big snowmaker by any means, but a continued reminder that winter quite isn't done for those mountainous regions. But where we are seeing that winter is coming to an end is in our snowpack. Now, this is the snowpack, the snow depth across the lower 48 as of Sunday evening, and it shows that with the exception of the Intermountain West and the areas of Minnesota where we saw the blizzard conditions over this past weekend, most of the United States is devoid of snowfall, save some areas just south of Lake Michigan and northern Michigan. And in the far northeast, we still have some snow in those higher elevations. But the snowpack is quickly eroding, just another sign that spring is on its way. A sign that spring is on its way, and a concern that we still have is across parts of the deep south. Across New Mexico, southeastern Colorado, southwestern Kansas, Oklahoma, down into Texas, we have a critical fire danger for our Monday. March is normally a time of year when we see a lot of precipitation throughout the Southwest, throughout Texas, and we just haven't seen that this year. And as a result, we have dry conditions, we have gusty winds, we have low relative humidities. All of this is going to lead to a critical fire danger for our Monday. But even up towards Nebraska into far southern South Dakota and southeastern Wyoming, we do have an elevated risk of fire for our Monday as we continue to see those dry conditions across the Central Plain. By the time we get to our Tuesday, that snow that was moving through the Dakotas, it's made its way on over into Quebec. We do have snow flying across Yellowstone National Park through parts of Wyoming into Utah and far northwestern Colorado. That's going to continue to spread to the east by the time we get to our Wednesday. but we have warmth and those strong southerly winds out ahead of it across places like Oklahoma into Missouri into Illinois. Strong southwesterly winds are going to boost temperatures there into the mid 60s and 70s, while we have 80s widespread across Texas, even some 90s in far southern Texas. We really don't find any cold weather except the northern tier of North Dakota, where we saw that heavy snow on Monday. That's going to keep temperatures down to around the freezing mark on our Tuesday. But out along the west coast, we have temperatures in the 40s and 50s for our Tuesday. So if we look at the 500 millibar level chart, we're going to see a ridge moving across the Central Plains for our Tuesday. It is going to spread to the eastern half of the United States while a trough digs across the Rockies. And that's going to be the focus of our next major storm system that's going to get wound up in about the same place that the last one was, but with not as much severe weather as it moves east Wednesday into our Thursday through the Ohio and Tennessee valleys. We see another trough starting to form along the Rockies for this upcoming weekend. That's going to continue to spread across the Central Plains into the Ohio Valley and keep unsettled weather in this part of the country for this weekend. So let's just put it all into motion here. We see that energy moving off the coast on our Monday. Out west, we see the snow starting to move through Utah and Wyoming. We're going to see that low pressure really start to intensify, getting down to about a 982, and those tight pressure lines are going to create quite the windstorm, as we can see heavy snow from Nebraska through Wisconsin for our Wednesday. Out ahead of it, we're going to see rain and maybe an occasional severe storm, nothing like the outbreak that we saw over the weekend. But as we get into our Friday, the weather turns very quiet across the United States, except this little disturbance that's going to move through the Ohio Valley by the time we get to our Saturday. In terms of our temperature anomalies, this is the 850 millibar temperature anomaly map. So we're going to see warm air surging into the Ohio and Tennessee southeast for our Tuesday. Behind that next system, it's going to drag in some colder air with this system. So we're going to have below normal temperatures in the eastern half of the United States Wednesday into Thursday. As we look at the temperature outlook for the next 8 to 14 days, as we get closer towards the end of March, we see above normal temperatures for most of the United States, especially in the Northeast and the Southwest. Even across the northern plains, you're expected to have above normal temperatures. The rest of the country is going to be very seasonal for this time of the year. In terms of our precipitation, as I mentioned, where we need the precipitation the most across the desert Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, into Texas, you're expected to have far below normal precipitation during this time frame, much above precipitation in the Pacific Northwest, and then in the Northeast and the eastern coastline of the United States, you're going to see above normal precipitation for the end of our March. Well, we thank you for joining us for this video here at the Weather Farm. We do ask that you leave any comments, questions, or things you'd like to hear more about in the comment section. We hope to hear from you real soon, and we hope you have a great